and welcome to a new project. Today I want to make some really comfy loungewear, but I also want it to be pretty and flowy and kind of elegant, because the thought popped into my head the other day. What would the elves of Rivendell be wearing when they're just chilling? When they've done all their fancy council meetings, they've had the big dinners, what would they wear when they're getting ready for bed and they're unwinding? So I've picked out a couple of patterns to help me get started with my design. I am going to tweak them and change some things, but these will help me get started. So the first one is Simplicity 5529. It's a wrap pant pattern, which will be nice and flowy. And then for the top section, I'm going to use McCall's 7168, which is actually a swimwear pattern, but I think it will give me a good start for a supportive yet comfy top. So those are going to help me get started. Let me show you what fabrics I'm going to use. The main fabric I'm going to use is this purple, really lightweight jersey. It does have a bit of stretch to it, so that'll be nice and comfy, but mostly it's just got beautiful drapiness to it. And I think the pattern in it sort of lends itself to an elven look without me doing hours and hours of embroidery. Very helpful. And then because this is something that Arwen might wear when she's relaxing, I wanted to add to the fanciness of this. And I'm going to put in some panels of this lace that I've got left over from my Silk and Stitch mystery box. This is what I used to make my wedding dress a couple of videos ago. And I think putting in some panels of this will just make it that little bit more fancy and elvish, elvy something. It's just beautiful fabric and I'm excited to work with it again. The first thing I'm going to do to this pants pattern is actually cut along here, which is the shorten or lengthen line on this pattern, and I'm going to lengthen it because I want these pants to be high-waisted, which is what I find the most comfortable for my body. And I also have a very long torso. So even if these are made to sit on a regular sized high waist, it won't sit on mine, it'll sit below that because I've just got such an annoyingly long torso. And then to add in my second fabric, which is the lace fabric, I'm going to draw a diagonal line from the sort of side seam where it would overlap with the back piece side seam, and I'm going to go diagonally down the pattern piece until probably about halfway in the bottom hem area, and that's where I will join the two fabrics. So I'll cut from sort of here to here out of my purple fabric, and then from here down out of my lace fabric. That's the plan anyway. Let's see what happens. My pants are now cut out and I'm going to put these together before I try and figure out the top. The first thing I want to start with is these legs, because I split them into two with the purple and the lace. So I need to turn them back into one, and then I'll have a front pair and a back pair. And then I can put on waistbands and stuff. now together and I have 2 fronts and 2 backs, I think these fabrics complement each other so well. Like just the purple with the white lace. It's gorgeous and I'm loving it. Now there are some darts to be sewn in all the pieces. Both the front and back have darts. And then to start actually assembling this, I need to take one of my fronts and one of my backs and sew them together through the crotch seam, I think. I need to reread the instructions and figure out how this tie situation is working. But first, I need to do the darts. I was wrong. It's the inner leg seam first, not the crotch seam. That comes later. I've got 2 legs with a big U in the middle and I need to connect them through that crotch seam, but the side seam stays open and that's where the wrap business happens. Currently have a lot of fabric kind of half sewn together. I'm gonna do the waistband now. In the instructions it does say to do all the hems first, which makes sense before you put the waistband up here. However, I don't think I'm going to hem this at all. This fabric will not fray, it's tulle, and I think a hem would just make it kind of heavy and I really like the lightness that it has. So I think I'm going to make life easier for myself and just skip the hemming and go straight to waistband. Waistband is all on and I have sewn on the closures, so that is done. Next thing to do is put together my back waistband. The back waistband is the one that comes around and ties in the front and holds the pants together. So it's a bit longer than my front one and I need to sew it together and it becomes even longer still. But once this is on, my pants are always done. I just need to decide whether I want to hem them, because I already decided I didn't want to hem the side seams, which are the lace, because I think that would make it too heavy and stop some of the flow that I really want. And I have the same feeling about the bottom hem, and this fabric is also not going to fray this jersey, so I can just leave it. But should I? Anyway, first things first, let's put this waistband together and on. on and they're just beautiful. This fabric and this lace just go together so well. And I'm so happy. It's very rare that an image of a garment will pop into my head like fully formed with like the style, the fabric, the colors, like everything. When I thought of this idea, my brain was instantly like, that purple fabric that you've got in that box stashed under that box that you got like 3 years ago with the leftover silk and stitch lace in this style. Like, it was an immediate formation of the whole idea, which doesn't normally happen when I'm creating things. It normally goes through 100 different variations before I'm like, this is it. And even then, when I'm sewing, it'll change again. But these just popped fully formed into my brain, and I'm really, really happy with how they turned out. They're flowy, they're soft and drapey and elegant. Everything I wanted them to be. I haven't hemmed the bottom of these. Like I said, I was going to think about that. I'm still thinking about it. I just really like how everything flows without hems. Like, there's no heaviness to edges, which sometimes a hem can just add that bit of like tautness to the fabric because it's stitched through and it'll just drape a little differently, which I don't think I want. And because this fabric doesn't fray, I don't think I need, at least for now. A hem is always something I can add later. Now I need to work on the matching top and hope that that also just pops into being exactly as I pictured it. Or even better. I'll accept better. This is kind of the vibe of the top that I want. I like the shape of this top and its little tie straps. I like that. And I really like the idea of having an understructure, sort of like a built-in bra underneath this. So I'm going to probably use this bikini pattern here, but maybe less plunging. And it's got gathers in it, which I might try and turn into a dart rather than gathers, or take it out completely. So this piece has now turned into these two pieces. Not sure if it's going to work. That is something I will find out when I sew it together and try it on. So now I need to cut this out and see if it worked. It's basically how all my sewing goes. Did that work? I'll find out. My lining layer together to check that it kind of does what I want, and so far it does. We'll see as I continue on, but now I'm going to put the second layer together, which is the white lycra, and that'll be the outer layer. This will be the lining layer against my skin. I've now got both layers done, my lining and my outer. And normally I could now just stitch these together around the top and then attach the waistband underneath. But because this design, I also have that fabric drapiness over the top of this. This is just the underneath structure, I need to figure that out now so that I can put all the seam allowances in when I sew this seam, which means I need to figure out my drapiness. So I've got this fabric and let's figure this out. So for the straps, I was going to use what comes with the pattern and do the whole sew it and turn it and all that jazz. But then in my scraps from cutting out the pants, I have these 2 long strips. And I figured let's make the most of what I've got and not waste any fabric. And I'm going to use these as my straps. To do is finish off this top edge, so I need to top stitch it so it's not pulling out like it is here, so it all sits a little bit nicer. And I think I'll put some elastic sort of just along here as well to hold it all nicer and closer to the body. And I also need to connect the under structure because the 2 layers are still open, so I need to stitch that down. Nearly done. I'm so excited to see it all finished, and I really hope it fits the vision I have. The last thing I'm going to do is put on a clasp in the back here, and it's all ready to go. I'm so excited to wear this whole outfit all together. Stitch these down and she's done. And it's gorgeous and flowy and drapey. This fabric in this light is looking a little velvety, which all Arwen's clothes are beautiful velvet masterpieces. So I feel like this could be an Arwen loungewear set. I could see her wearing this. I do feel like I didn't really talk you guys through the making of the top much, and I didn't check in while I was doing it, but it was just follow the vibes, and this is what came out. I really love the back of it, with this crisscross lace, and it's got that flow at the back. It's all open. But yeah, I don't really know how I made it, and good luck if you want to recreate what I did. Now that I've done it, I could do it again, but I had no idea what I was doing in the middle of it. I guess all that's left to do is try it on. happy with how this set has turned out. I think it's elegant and flowy, and it's certainly comfy. Flynn is currently lying on the leg of my pants because it's that big of a leg that it can. But it's the perfect set for making my morning coffee and watching the sunrise and listening to the birds. It's so nice. But I will say, to be truly elf-like, it needs more sleeve drama. I mean, these are lovely, but they're not really sleeves. So make sure to subscribe and come back next week when I tackle the problem of no dramatic sleeves. Bye.